My visit here first is primarily to come and consult with the AODA NEPAD, which is based at Midrand. This is the agency of the AU that deals with development matters on the continent. And as the High Representative on Infrastructure Development in the AU, I work with AODA NEPAD, and that's why I've come to make consultations ahead of the forthcoming investment conference, which is going to take place in Dakar on the 2nd and 3rd of February. The role of a High Representative is basically coordination and trying to ensure that those who have the responsibility of implementing some of this infrastructure development are actually doing their work. So I act as a catalyst in a chemical process to ensure that what has been agreed upon is actually implemented. And I report the result of my work to the President of the AU, His Excellency Mr. Musa Faki Mahamat. I think that I have tried to do my job. As you know, that infrastructure is fairly a wide topic. We deal with several aspects of infrastructure development. You have got trans-African highways, then you have got the high-speed railway network on the continent. Thirdly, you have got fiber optic network on the continent. And then you have got the air traffic, transport, what you call open skies on the continent. Then you have got also water transport, particularly the river water transport. And finally, you have got energy development of the continent. All these are aspects of infrastructure development. Now, there is a program that is called Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, PIDA, which has been approved by the African Union Head of State meeting. And it covers most of these areas that I've talked about. And there are also presidential infrastructure championship projects, which each president has been appointed to be a champion for a particular project. So in terms of trans-African highways, the major ones that we have are, for example, the Cape to Cairo. And then we have also got Tunis to the Cape. One passes through the eastern part of the continent, and then passes through the western part of the continent. Then you have got Dakar, Jamena, Khartoum to Djibouti. Then you have got Dakar to Lagos and Lagos to Mombasa. Those are the major trans-African highways. Then you've got the high-speed railway network system. These are proposed railway networks that are supposed to make transport easier across the continent. You've got one that is supposed to start from the port of Beira, going all the way to Walvis Bay in Namibia, to come from Mozambique. There's one coming from Angola, going all the way up to Dar es Salaam. There's one which is called Lapset, the Lamu port in Kenya, then connecting Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and Khartoum, South Sudan, sorry, not Khartoum, Juba. And then running from Juba through Bangui in Central African Republic, all the way to Cameroonian port of Kribi. Also creating again a land bridge connecting Atlantic Ocean to the Indian Ocean and opening up the interior of the continent. Then you've got one that comes from Lagos, running along the Western African coast, all the way through the Northern African coast to Cairo, Lagos to Cairo, railway also. So these are some of the projects in that regard, in terms of railway. Then fiber optic is aimed at connecting all the capital cities of the continent through the fiber optic network. The air traffic transport is supposed to be actually revolutionized, so that we can have eventually one Africa Air Command or Control Center that will be controlling the air traffic transport across the continent. At the moment, air transport is very expensive on the continent. And that we also have very few African airlines that traverse the continent. And therefore, actually, we are so much dependent on foreign airlines coming from Europe, the USA, and so on. So we want to actually connect the air transport in the continent so that, like European air control, it makes air transport within Europe very cheap. At the moment, you know, to travel by air across the continent is a nightmare.